We're live from Vikings training camp on Friday here. The Vikings are behind us right now. You see the defensive unit, the offensive units on the far side of the field. We're here to talk about something different today. We've got our NFL insider, Jeff Nichols, with us, and we really wanted to talk about sports and how it relates to business. As you know, right now, especially in the world of big data, we go about things for financial solutions and trade credit, and people are really having to be more sophisticated. And in the sport of football, you also have to have deeper data, because data is not just data. You got to turn it into something that's analytics. Right. Talk to me about your thoughts on how the similarities of business and what's done on the sports.
I think regardless if it's business or football, data is power, right? It allows you to have actionable decision making and really make decisions based on data. It's not your heart and your feelings that are driving decisions. It's actual factual, and you can target specific points in data to say, here's what players need to improve on. Just like in business can say, here's what we need to improve on from an execution standpoint, from a supply chain standpoint. There's a lot of similarities that way.
You struggle with customers that say they'll just do, I'll do whatever I have to. I'll just ship and chase this stuff. Sure. I don't need to know about my customer, but I know I'm good enough. Mm-hmm. If they use that same concept in football, exactly how good would an NFL draft be?
You know what? It's never going to be an exact science, just like sales is, right? Because there's going to be decision makers that act off of heart, and they're not going to be making factual decisions. And that's going to throw off the spectrum of saying you're not working in a vacuum, right? You're working in the real world. But if you can take that data and you can put it in a logical way that's understandable to everyone, it's going to lead you to more conclusive decisions, and your drafting should be better, your business execution should be better if all goes to plan.
We always talk about it inside that, it's not a right-away thing. When football decided we're going to do more analysis and things like that, look at the analytics, okay? Mm-hmm. It's not overnight. You have to start a little bit at a time. Sometimes that's a 3 to 5 year journey in business. It's a 3 to 5 year journey in sports. Talk to folks about what it's like in sports to kind of put that together to really analyze players.
You know what? I think in the NFL particularly, you had a lot of early adopters, and then you had a lot of the more homegrown, talent evaluators who really like what their eyes see rather than taking data points and being able to put together a story. But I think when you put together any sort of data, you really want to make sure you're doing it the right way. You want to make sure you understand what your data points are telling you. You don't want to just put together and harvest data and not have anything at the end of the day that tells a story. Setting the groundwork and kind of building teams from the ground up is really the approach the NFL franchises have taken. Is what's comfortable to you. Do you want to use it from a scouting perspective? Do you want to use it from a practice perspective? All these players have RFID chips in their shoulder pads that they're using to track fatigue, how fast players are moving, possibly detect injuries that players may not even know they have.
Yeah, I'll tell you what's interesting, too, is in business, it moves global. You got to monitor what's going on with your global companies. You can't just be U.S.-based. It's the same for the NFL now. Now you're starting to see talent, not just NFL, other sports, where you've got to go from somewhere else. Talk about the importance of making sure you're not too contained to one area. You got to look at the whole world.
You know what? I think baseball is almost a better example of this, how they view sabermetrics and the whole Moneyball, initiative. This is how they're looking at players from the Dominican Republic, players from Brazil, players from Germany and Europe. You're able to garner, where do I need to actually spend my time looking, right? Instead of looking and spreading your net so thin of just traversing the entire globe, there's these 5 guys I really like in Germany. Let's spend my time there, and those really get that value add.
Yeah, and that's the whole point. In business, you want to pre-screen customers. Right. You want to know what they're like before you go waste your time and go after that. It's the same way with sports. Absolutely. You don't want to chase every name out there. You got to have the information on them.
Absolutely. And I think it makes the business easier. And when it comes from a cost-saving initiative, when you're able to spend more time on the customers that matter, the customer, you give them a better experience. And then you as a business, you're going to get that more substantial return as well.
Absolutely. Jeff, I appreciate the opportunity today. We're live from Vikings training camp. Remember, folks, it is up the maturity curve. You go all the way from somebody who's doing it manual to global monitoring and the corporate linkage. It's important in the world. DNB is the best that we have in the country, and Jeff's here to try to explain that in layman's terms what that means. So I'm Tom Moore for Jeff Nichols. We'll see you later.